Hey everybody, Steve here back on the N-Scale Cajon Subdivision. Welcome back to the layout. This is going to be layout update number 16. So it's been a few months since I did a layout update. I think layout update number 15 was 3 months ago. I was trying to do them every month, but back then when it came time to do one, I just didn't have a whole lot of updates to put up there. So now that I've actually got a lot of stuff done on the layout since then, I just haven't had the time to do one. So I have ran a cab ride around the layout, and I think some operation, or not operations, but some videos of trains running around the layout. But this will be a layout update. It's long overdue, and stick around. Okay, as you guys remember, I kind of had this fascia already installed on the last layout update, but I've since painted it. And I've actually started working the lower level fascia, as you can see. Got some nice curves going there. Was a little bit tricky because I didn't think ahead for curved fascia, and I made like square or framed, I guess, bench work. So putting the curves in was a little bit tricky. I had to get some, blocks and then glue them and screw them in and cut them, make sure they were cut so that the fascia would actually follow the curve that I wanted. So I hope that makes sense. I don't know the best way to explain it, but I think it came out okay. It's not the greatest, but definitely lesson learned if I ever do another layout. Moved all the UP5s, or at least this one. Had to take them all out to remount them on the lower level. And then I went ahead and I've got some of these nice new placards. A buddy of mine made them. I think they came out really good. They're on metal, and then they have it's just like vinyl decals. So another UP5 moved. As you can see, the fascia on the lower level. I'm going to take you guys on a lower level tour first. More placards. I really like the way these came out. It really makes the layout pop. And then down to the lower level right now, that's as far as I've got on the fascia. And then let me turn around and show you guys the upper level fascia, because while we're talking fascia, I may as well show you guys. I think that over here, I ended up, there was a section here, I had to cut it out, and when I did the layout, I kind of staggered the height here, so this kind of dropped. There was a block here that it wasn't a flush mount right there for bench work. It was kind of staggered because I had height increases and things like that. Didn't think it out, but I ended up taking this section out and then cutting a lot of that off, and then modifying that bench work underneath so it's nice and flush now under there. I had to remount that brace, or move it up, reposition it, but I think it came out pretty good. So, and part of that is because my layout has sections that will come apart. Like right here is a section that will come apart, and this brace behind here, it will, this will all come apart, and the track, all I have to do is there's a couple bolts that hold those two sections together, and there will be some gap masters for the track, so the track will come apart easily. And then really all it is taking a couple bolts out to take that section off if I ever do, and there's a jumper for all the electrical, couple jumpers. So, but thinking ahead, because I am eventually going to move, and this layout is going to hopefully become one level in an entire basement, removing the helix. I did want to think ahead so that when I do move into a bigger home with a full-size basement, these sections can come apart easily without destroying the layout. Something I learned on my last layout. I didn't build it to move. As you can see, upper level fascia, got my turnouts controls for the Cajon siding in. More signs, really like the way they came out. And fascia on the upper level, as you can kind of see down to about here. This is a flat black. I think the color's okay. I don't mind the color, but I don't know, it's really chalky for some reason. Like I can mark it, it'll come right off if I wipe it, but it's something about that color, or that it's just on hardy board, or is it hardy board? Just standard board we use for fascia, but not a fan of the way it marks up easily, but maybe as I clean it a few times, that'll go away. But yeah, that's the fascia. I think it came out pretty good so far. Still a lot to do. Let me take you guys around to Devore real quick and show you that. Okay, the Devore side. Still got to mount one controller here. Haven't really figured out how I'm going to do this around the helix. I don't know if it's going to be permanent or just short term, because like I said, eventually I want to get rid of this helix and make this a single level layout. But as you can see, painted over here as well, and I had to remount all these. Got another throttle pocket in here for this controller. I've got a few more to mount, but that's the fascia so far. All right, down here West San Bernardino yard, I did install another DS64 over here, and there's another one over here. So I've started for there's a turnout back here behind that engine house, and then there's one right here, and then there's a couple over here that still weren't wired in. It's a couple turnouts that weren't connected, but I've got pretty much the west end of San Bernardino yard now all is wired up with DS64s, and all the turnouts are connected and operational. So it's still a mess down here, unfortunately. I apologize for that. It's just kind of been a junk staging area. It is on my to-do list to start cleaning up this area down here. And then I worked, the bus ended here at this section, and then so now I have a dedicated bus underneath these reversing loops. So the UP or the BNSF finished getting main, I think classification 9 and 10 last time were in. They just weren't glued down. Those are all in and wired and glued down now. So all the BNSF, you can see my yard. I'm trying to walk a little bit slow. All my BNSF yard tracks are now installed and hooked up, turnouts, glued, whatnot. All that's left is my Union Pacific tracks here, which I'm starting to work, and I have my BNSF yard lead, which is coming off these two red pins here. There'll be a turnout that follows that around to kind of where that Amtrak is. There's a track that behind those two Santa Fe box cars that dead ends. That's another yard lead. So I've really only got this area in here down to where the railer is, the re-railer. I've got to put in my locomotive tracks and locomotive facility, and that'll be it for BNSF and the yard lead, and then the BNSF tracks will be done on the lower level. So like the way the yard's turning out. It's definitely a nice looking yard. This is, you know, looking down from East San Bernardino. You guys can see. Trying to give you guys a good perspective of the yard. Also installed some lighting underneath. Got now the LED strip lights underneath. Thanks Corey for the recommendations. Corey at KRP Models. Appreciate that recommendation. I like the way they really turned out. Easy to install. All of it, they just a couple plugs, and then I've got the switches on permanently. So all I do is if I want the lights on or off, I just turn them off with a surge protector. And what a difference it makes, as you can see. No lighting, that's what I had before. And lighting, so like the way it turned out. And that's pretty much right now continuous on my lower level. I have it down all the way up to right here, the base of my helix. And then there's my spool that I have a little bit left on that spool, and I'm gonna run it behind above Devore and bring it back on the back side of this, so it lights up this other area back here. So, but I really like the way the lighting came out on the lower level. I mean, it definitely makes the lower level yard look a lot more lit up, natural, and easier to work, better conditions to work when switching trains and things like that. So I also added another light hanging from some more lighting in my garage, hanging from the overhead, and the light's kind of above cajon area. Had some dead spots over there, so put some more lighting over there. But as you can see, definitely lights it up a little bit better. All right, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I have also started working the 2 UP, or the UP line coming off the helix with its siding, and this runs down to the yard, and that's about as far as I've got on the siding. And then the main, I ended right about here. So I got that in, and I'm gonna end up having to rip it out, unfortunately, but for a good reason, because right after I got all that in, I had an order of Micro Engineering concrete flex track code 55 that had been back ordered since 2018, and they finally mailed me my 10 bundles, so I guess it's back in stock. So I got 10 bundles that were back ordered, and then I ordered another 6 more, so I think I got about 96 sticks of Micro Engineering concrete flex. So I am going to end up doing the 2 main lines here, the Union Pacific lines to the yard, and all the way around with concrete flex. And then I will, since I'm still working the BNSF triple track number 3, the furthest one away from the camera. I haven't got that one in yet. You can see it dead ends by those pins. I was getting ready to start working that, but then when I got that concrete flex, I'm gonna go ahead and do the main 3 all the way around my lower level yard with the concrete track instead of the wood. Mains 1 and 2, I have enough to do them, but it'll probably be a project down the road because I just don't want to rip it all out right now. So I'll probably use what I can for the upper level and do main 3 and then the 2 Union Pacific lines on the lower level, and then later on I'll come back and do mains 1 and 2 on the lower level yard. So but I definitely have enough concrete flex track now to finish the layout, which is great news for me. All right, on the upper level, this is not permanent, this is just a brace. I'm doing something with that. I might move a joint over instead of having it here. That's something else I'll show you on the next update. But anyway, I got this Union Pacific line number 4 coming off the helix. I've got that in, and as you can see, I've started working the flex track all the way up. This is all installed, soldered, operational, up to about there where the pins are. And then my Union Pacific Highline has started getting track. So once that track is in, I can actually do the backdrop or the fascia behind it, so I won't see the rest of my garage behind it. It'll be a nice partition. But you can see a lot of the tracks going in this section here. I just need to install the feeders and glue it down. As you can see, as we're going, a lot more of the scenery is kind of starting to take shape in between Blue Cut and Keenbrook. So UP Highline got some track going finally, and right up to about there, and then the rest is already glued down and soldered. So I did have to put in its own, it's got its own bus already. You can see there's the UP Highline behind Blue Cut area and coming up behind Cajon. Kind of like the way it turned out. A little bit close to the triple tracks BNSF, but it is what it is. You know, it is a layout. You have to sometimes make compromises. So the track ends right now at Sullivan's Curve, and then I'll be working this section over all the way to up to the 15. All right, and then just kind of scenery. I haven't really done a whole lot more with this since the last layout update. I think last time we had the bridge in, and we had the portal or the culvert for the UP Highline, but got some scenery done around it. I've just been painting some of the scenery and then putting some different types of brush around. None of this is glued down yet. I've just been playing around with it, but once I get it where I want it, I will. The color's right, I will glue it down. So Still got so much scenery to do. And ballasting. It's going to be a fun project, but it's going to be very lengthy. So, but as you guys can see, definitely taking shape. I really like the way it's starting to turn out, especially once we get some trains running like on the UP High Line, and you know, we've got trains running up the UP High Line, and then also coming up or down the BNSF triple track at the same time. It's really going to look great. So I'll get some videos of that up once this UP High Line is operational. I'll probably do a layout update video, or a, you know, whatever, you know, final piece of track work in type thing. So but yeah, that's about it for now. I'll show some, I think I got a few clips of some trains running that I've, you know, had on the camera for a few weeks now, and some of them, they might be a little older than what you're seeing, but you know, at least it's something. One other thing I did do, I ran the because last year I had this AC unit I had was unfortunately the builder put all my breaker in the garage, or all my outlets in the garage on one breaker. I ran a dedicated 20 amp breaker, conduit, and 2 electrical outlets. There's a quad outlet back here, and then there's one behind me with a GFI, a double on the wall. And now my AC unit and my essentials are nice and kept cold. I've actually got those plugged in, you know, got some refreshments in here, and right now the train room's sitting at 70 degrees, nice and cool. So it doesn't trip off like it used to trip the breaker last year, because it was too many things on the breaker. But definitely it was worth doing. My garage is insulated, so it has a pretty easy time keeping up. And then while I had that out and I was running all the conduit, I cleaned all underneath the layout, everything under here I pulled out, vacuumed, and went ahead and reinstalled some. There was a few miscellaneous feeders I had dropped since that I needed to go ahead and drop. But yeah, layout's coming along, a little bit more progress. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know maybe it's not as much as, you know, some of you'd like to see, but definitely it's, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into, you know, just shaping fascia and installing DS64s and installing bus, you know, bus wires and feeders and things like that. So definitely a lot of stuff that goes into the electrical and all the bench work when you got to modify it and install your fascia. So, but anyway, appreciate it. This is layout update number 16. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I apologize if I'm moving the camera too fast. If I am, let me know. I'll slow down next time. But hopefully have another layout update video in the next month or two. All right, for now, take care.
2 boxes.